Hey everybody, good morning. It's Jillian. Man, the airwaves are clogged. Just getting onto this Facebook Live took several different tries, though I am a couple hours later than my usual because I had a little change in my schedule this morning. But yeah, I've been of course keeping track of all the different stuff that's going on right now. And I'm telling you guys, we are now we're on a global reset. We are on a major global reset, and it's not going to slow down. I've been reading and I've been watching YouTube videos about the history of Spanish flu, just other global pandemics. I belong to several different groups, some that are just like making fun and infusing levity, but also paying attention to the school closures in the different cities and states, because we know that people are transferring the coronavirus. It just hasn't been completely like out there in the front, because how many test kits are there? And are they going to test everybody that has some kind of bug, or some kind of illness? So they say just stay home. So we have so many school closures, and I'm probably skipping right now. I see that I'm skipping. So I'm going to try to speak a little slower so I'm not moving around so much. Okay, so I've been watching. Oh, wow. It's skipping a lot. But yeah, there's a lot going on, you guys. I mean, damn. I can't even. Okay, well, whatever. There's a lot going on as far as people putting out remedies and everything. And I want to remind you that they had something like this, like a major epidemic pandemic back in 1918, but we don't have many people alive to remember that. So what happens is that when every generation dies off, then people basically reinvent the wheel again, and then they forget how things happen. So when they forget how things happen, then they start repeating the same thing over. So I'm going to remind you about the whole thing with why vaccines were there to begin with. Vaccines helped stop the epidemic of the smallpox outbreak. Okay, so that was the first vaccine, was like in 1763, and then we have these viruses like the flu and all of that. And then I'm going to read this to you. Okay, this is from the U.S. National Library of Medicine, and I'm telling you, the coronavirus is nothing like the flu. Okay, it is nothing like the flu. Thank you, Nugio. All right, so as the 1918 flu continued, its campaign of global terror, food and pharmaceutical manufacturers seized on the commercial potential of the epidemic. So right now you're seeing the holistic world totally capitalizing. I mean, you see people that are promoting osteopaths, chiropractors. You're seeing people going into supplements, pills, powder supplements, and detox, all these different massage therapies, chiropractors, osteopaths, whatever. So respectable proprietary brands bought advertising space alongside quacks and snake oil salesmen, all keen to persuade a desperate public to purchase their wares. Alongside over-the-counter products, frightened families also turned to folk remedies, traditional and reassuring cure familiar to their heritage, whether this be onions or a fetid smelling herb historically used for chest complaints, or opium. As the mortality rates soared, so did the willingness to try anything to save themselves and their loved ones from a horrible death. And while attempts to develop a vaccine against Spanish flu floundered, and you're seeing that right now, there is no vaccine for a coronavirus. So now you guys are seeing that, okay, you have to now deal with this thing in your environment. And you hope you can, measure up, because now it's Mother Nature. Now Mother Nature is going to basically be the judge, jury, and executioner. There is no intermediary. There's no vaccine for this. It's still in the development stages. Okay. So Spanish flu floundered. Doctors pioneered other methods to care for its victims, from rooftop cures where patients were exposed to the elements, to an experiment with potassium permanganate on British public schoolboys, from the apparently innocuous first wave during the early spring of 1980 to the escalating second wave of Spanish flu that gripped the world in the later months of the year. Daily newspapers carried an increasing number of advertisements for influenza-related remedies as drug companies played on the anxieties of readers and reaped the benefits. So watch all your MLM salesmen. Oh, I got an essential oil for you. Oh yeah, do this lymphatic detox. Oh yeah, smoke a lot of cannabis. Oh, you're going to see all of your MLMers come out of the woodwork, putting out colloidal silver. Okay, putting out all these different detoxes and heavy metals. Okay, and they have no idea what they're doing. You've seen people talk about Lysol and the coronavirus. There's different strains. This is a novel coronavirus. This is not the same strain that's on the Lysol bottle. And you better not be drinking Lysol, okay? From the Times of London to the Washington Post, page after page was filled with dozens of advertisements for preventative measures and over-the-counter remedies. Influenza, proclaimed an advert extolling the virtue of Fermented lozenges. Suck a tablet whenever you enter a crowded, germ-laden place. Oh my God. Another advertisement announced as Spanish influenza is an exaggerated form of grippe. Readers should take laxative bromoquinine in large doses than usual as a preventative measure. Laxative. So they know that shit or poop does contribute to the effect or to the severity of the exposure. Okay. But remember, you still have to heal the weaknesses. It's not just releasing the poop and detoxing your body as these holistic people claim. You actually have to heal your gut so you can absorb nutrients and fix the weaknesses so you can survive this onslaught. And if you've been diagnosed, you have many weaknesses. Okay? For those who had already succumbed, Hill's Cascara quinine bromide promised relief, as did Dr. Jones' liniment, previously and mysteriously known as beaver oil, and intended to provide relief from coughing and catarrh. Demand for Vicks Vapor Rub, still popular today, was drummed up by the press adverts warning imminent shortages. Here we go. Druggists. This is the advertisement. Druggists. Please note, Vicks Vapor Rub oversold due to present epidemic. Oh yeah, just watch the news, you guys. Just watch your friends who are making money off this stuff, okay? And remember, Jilly Juice is a recipe that everybody has access to. All right. Americans were informed that this was their patriot duty to eat more onions. Oh my God, more onions. Oh yeah. As part of the patriotic drive against flu, one placard proclaimed, "An onion car arrived today, labeled red, white, and blue. Eat onions plenty every day and keep away the flu." Are you kidding me? You know, onions are very acidic. Onions are very acidic. I actually saw somebody on Facebook shove onions down their baby's throat one time. I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh my God. An American mother took this suggestion to extreme and fed her sick daughter syrup made from onions before wrapping her in onions from head to toe. Fortunately, the outcome was successful and the child survived. Conventional medical advice for the treatment of influenza included morphine, atropine, aspirin, strychnine, belladonna, chloroform, quinine or quinine, and disturbingly kerosene, which was administered on a sugar lump. Okay, alongside these, folk remedies thrived. If a product from the drugstore failed to alleviate the symptoms, remember they're managing symptoms, many patients and their families turned to more traditional methods. One popular remedy in South Africa is to place a block of camphor in a bag and tie it around a patient's neck, like putting in a sock. Okay. One 8-year-old was taking no chances, announced that she was wearing a camphor bag around her neck to keep off the Germans. The practice was so widespread that over half a century later, an elderly South African lady in a nursing home who survived the 1918 outbreak refused inoculations against the 1969 epidemic of Hong Kong flu. "Not for me," she maintained. "I still have my camphor bag." In North Carolina, young Dan Tonkel had taken to wearing a bag of asafoetida around his neck in the belief that the stinking extract would protect him. Okay, now all these people that are selling extracts, same difference. Oh, it's going to keep away the germs. Okay. It smelled to high. Or a bag of asafoetida and smelled like rotten flesh. In Philadelphia, Harriet Farrell was rubbed with tree bark and sulfur and forced to drink herbal teas and take drops of turpentine and kerosene on a lump of sugar. People are freaking poisoning themselves. Harriet was also subject to this asafoetida treatment, but was philosophical. "We smelled awful, but it was okay because everyone smelled bad. Robert Graves' Welsh gypsy housemaid, an even more unusual form of protection, consisting of leg of lizard tied in a bag around his neck. She was the only person in the Graves household who did not develop Spanish flu. Interesting. Okay, a leg of lizard. Well, okay, oh, short. Don't be doing that. Okay, whiskey has also been in traditional remedies for colds and influenza, and whiskey prices soared in the United States during the epidemic. In Denmark and Canada, alcohol was only available by prescription, while in Poland, brandy was regarded as highly medicinal. One brave soul in Nova Scotia recommended 14 straight gins in quick succession as a cure for Spanish flu. The results of this experiment was unknown. If the patient had survived, he had doubtless forgotten the proceedings entirely. I'm sure he was drunk off his ass. In Britain, the Royal College of Physicians stated that alcohol invites disaster, a conclusion which was ignored by many. So don't be thinking you can just drink yourself out of this stuff, okay? The barman at London's Savoy Hotel created a new cocktail based on whiskey, rum, and christened it the Corpse Reviver. Jeez. You know, you have leaky gut and you have overfed fungus or yeast. Alcohol is only going to feed that, just so you know. Fermented sugar, like in kombuchas and apple cider vinegar, those that are trying to give their kids elderberry syrup and all that stuff in kombucha and apple cider vinegar, it will feed the candida and cause more leaky gut, more malabsorption, which you have more leaving your body than coming in, and you will systematically degrade as this virus does a number on your kids and yourself, just so you know. In the universal panic of the Spanish flu epidemics, many believed that the air itself was poisonous. One woman in Salerno, Italy, sealed up her house so effectively that she died of suffocation. Lee Ray of Meadow, Utah, recalled one family who sealed their house up. They plugged keyholes, sealed the windows, and even closed the dapper on the stove. Roy Brinkley's father, a sharecropper in Max Meadows, Virginia, decided that fresh air could be fatal during the epidemic and sealed up his wife and 4 children in a room. The family spent 7 days sitting around the wood-burning stove until it caught fire. As his family fled the house and took refuge in the vegetable patch, Brinkley was convinced that the fresh air would kill them. For the rest of his life, Roy remembered a sudden rush of fresh air and a sight of cabbages as big as wash tubs. But once outside, the entire family soon recovered. Cabbages. Cabbage. A sudden rush of fresh air and the sight of cabbages as big as wash tubs. Why am I reading this? And that's the end. That's the end of this article. Cabbage was the end of this article. Okay, I didn't read this prior. I didn't prepare to read this. I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to read this and see what they say, and I will give my own take on it. Okay, so the thing is, the vaccines do matter because people need to have some kind of preemptive exposure to then slow down the antibody accumulation. So those that are anti-vax, whatever. And I was that way too, I understand, but I since completely reversed my whole position on that. But the reason why the cabbage juice, the fermented cabbage juice with my recipe is amazing is because it has the actual nutrients, okay, that are in the cabbage and kale that have been fermented down to a pre-digested state with the pink salt as the energizing force. It has the water, it has the probiotics, okay, which is a type of acid, because that's what is RNA and DNA is a type of acid. Nucleic acid needs to have a type of acid to help take away the bad, bring in the good, repair the damage. And then, yes, you're going to be mucousy. When you're mucousy, it means everything that doesn't belong in your body leaves it. We're not trying to stop the symptoms, but that's what people are doing with these remedies. They're trying to stop the symptoms with colloidal silver. That's why the worst thing you can do to your body, because your body's trying to release the excess, and now you're suppressing your immune system, which needs to be activated, but you guys are so weak that when you're activating an immune system without the proper support of nutrition, you're essentially allowing a lot of fluid to build up. And that's why people then start choking or drowning in their fluids, because they don't have a proper way to release, because they have a stagnation in their digestive as well as their lymphatic system. So everything builds up, but nothing is escaping. People are afraid to poop. People are afraid to blow their nose. People are afraid to do anything that releases excess, and it's going to do them more harm than good. Okay, so yeah, so cabbage juice, yeah, you're going to be mucousy. No rife discoveries, Diogo. No. No, 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 no. Diogo, do not use any Rife. Don't use any electric machines. None of that shit. None of the holistic stuff, Diogo. Okay? Do not. You need to only do the cabbage juice. And if you feel you're that desperate, go to the hospital and get the drips. Get the oxygen. But do not apply Rife machines. Do not apply remedies in the holistic market. I don't care how well they sell them, how wonderful you think they are, but no. And vaccines are not toxic, Diogo. You have been brainwashed by the holistic industry. There are people that are in your circle that are actively right now promoting pills, powder supplements, and detoxes, anti-vax. What else? They're taking so many supplements, are destroying their body. They're worried about 5G, which should be the least of their worries. You're being brainwashed by your friends. And this is no fucking joke. I'm being so serious. Do not be applying those machines that you know nothing about, that should not be used in conjunction with J-Juice. Okay? You have my book. You're part of my group. I don't know what else I can do to convince you, but do not promote any of that crap around the J-Juice because it doesn't belong. It does not. You got to pick one or the other. You want to pick the holistic world, stay in the holistic world and see where that outcome is. You want to pick the J-Juice world, you got to deal with the healing. And if you're not ready to do that, then don't do J-Juice because it's not for everybody. Some people are too weak to do the healing. That's why they go on and off the protocol. That's why you see people going like, oh yeah, I'll do it. And now people are coming back to it because you know what? You have no choice now. You can try all your little pills, powder supplements, and machines and all these quackery shit that's being promoted out there by these holistic and naturopathics, osteopathics, and chiropractics, and the electric, Dr. Klinghardt and their electric stuff. But you'll look at these people, what they look like. Okay? So you have absolutely no idea what the hell you're doing. You need food. You need nutrition. You need to seal your leaky gut. You need to allow your body to heal and release the excess. And if you don't like to shit, and if you don't like to see the mucus come out of your body and get released, then it's going to accumulate, and then you get hit by an aggressive pathogen like a virus. And you're not going to do a vaccine because you're so afraid of them, because you've been brainwashed by your little friends around you, because they don't understand why we have them to begin with. Do you realize what's in a vaccine? It is the actual attenuated, which means a weakened version of that virus. So you take this aggressive pandemic of a virus that's in China that's just destroying people. You take that and you put it into your body. Guess what? You're now going to have to figure out, are you strong enough to handle that aggressive antibody accumulation? And do you have enough in you to be able to dilute the amount of antibody accumulation to survive the symptoms? But if you took that same pathogen, okay, that same virus, and why it's a pathogen is because it's on a weak body, and your body is weak, Diogo. All right? And you actually take a lesser version of it, a weaker version of it within minerals. You know what's in a vaccine? Minerals and proteins. No different than what the fuck you eat every single day, whatever you breathe in every single day. Because now you're coming from the standpoint that air is poisonous, the elements are poisonous, food is poisonous, and that's what's going to do you in, Diogo. That's what's going to do you in. And I've spent many times with you, but it hasn't penetrated your brain because you're too busy living what you think is your best life. But now you'll be faced with, is your belief system really truly going to hold up to what's going on? And I don't think it is. And I don't think it is. And aluminum is not poisonous, Diogo. And aluminum is not poisonous. It's just a heavy metal. It's a freaking mineral. You're still falling into the Alex Jones crowd. Oh God, fear the minerals. No, what it is that you have to get something that's going to activate your immune system. And so when you have the virus come in with an activation, a conductor, that's what aluminum is, like a conductor. And then you create antibodies. And when you create antibodies, that's a source of protection. But what people are afraid of is because they have so many mineral imbalances that they think that this mineral is going to cause them to have, all these different issues. But you already have predispositions, Diogo. You know how many predispositions you have? It's probably countless. And you haven't dealt with them all. You dealt with some of them early on, but you got off the protocol. But you haven't healed and sealed. So now either you're going to heal and seal and face whatever, or you're going to go and do all these different machine things. You're going to basically do whatever they did back in 1918 with all the quackery and the snake oil. And chili juice is not a snake oil. There's no oil in it. All it is just basically cabbage juice. Cabbage and kale, the most cruciferous vegetables on the earth, are the most densely nutritious, broken down to a pre-digested state. How many times can I say that? But here's the thing. Some people aren't strong enough to take on that virus in their environment. So that's why a vaccine is necessary for some people, to give them some layer and activation of their immune system to create antibodies. So that way, when they do meet that virus in the environment, it's going to be less aggressive. Yes, you're going to have some adverse reactions because you already have predispositions. Jean Kennedy says, that's right. I was wasting away from blood disorders in 2016 from exposure to 9/11 debris. Oh, honey. And toxic lifestyle. And I would likely be dead if it's not for the J juice. I was on all the alternative protocols, cannabis supplements, to no avail. Oh, yeah. Once I started the juice, the candida came out and my body started rebuilding and healing. Thank you, Jillian. Jean, you are so welcome. You got your life back. And some people have to hit the wall. Diogo has to hit the wall before he realizes that all of his crap that he's listened to from all of his friends who are afraid of vaccines and afraid of anything, afraid of healing, he'll have to figure it out. You all are going to be meeting your maker in some way. You're going to be basically being tested to see how healthy you think you are. And some of you are not very healthy. And some of you need the vaccine because you haven't built up your body correctly. Some of you need that layer of protection. The vaccine is going to be a lot of people's saviors, but those that are anti-vax are going to now have to try their luck. They're going to have to basically compete against something that they have absolutely no business competing. Okay? Because when you don't have strength in your body and you're anti-vax and you have predispositions and you're afraid of everything and you're anti-government and that virus comes to your doorstep, you're going to have nothing but your body that is full of crap. Now take that in, and that virus is going to do a number on you. Look what's going on in China. Does that not ring a freaking bell? How serious this is? Do you not get it? So yeah, so that's why, when people talk smack about me and say, oh yeah, you look like you're aging, Jillian, you're horrible, you can't prove all this stuff, and it's not FDA approved, and all this other stuff, you know what? They're going to have to figure out how they measure up. Some people will survive. They're talking smack about me and they'll be like, oh yeah, I survived. Well, good for you. Okay, good for you. So here's the thing. You all are going to have to figure out how you measure up. You're going to have to basically go through the healing process. You're going to have to go through all of this stuff as far as finding out truly how healthy or how unhealthy you are. And some of you are not going to survive. I mean, look at China. China really is no different than us. China is really no different than us. Okay? And so you can't mess around with these machines. Frequencies are fine, but that's not going to be it's not going to help you, Diogo. You can believe all you want. But belief doesn't mean that it's true, because now you have to look at science, you have to look at body, mind, and spirit. You have to look at all the things that are going on. And if you feel you have to use the holistic industry, and it's not even necessary. If you had an actual disease where you need to go get something taken out because you are in imminent death, go get the operation, go get that shit taken out, and then come back and do J-juice. But those stupid frequencies people are talking about, I'm sorry, I'm going to talk smack, but those Rife machines and those frequency stuff, it's great when you're healthy. You can play around with your hormones when you're healthy, but can you afford it when you're not healthy? When you're facing now whether or not you're going to survive something like this. You can't afford to be glib. You can't afford to be trendy. You can't afford to be any of that shit. You're back now because now it's like the 11th hour and you've been messing around off the protocol and you guys are taking your life for granted because you think, oh yeah, nothing's going to happen. And bam, guess what? 2020 happened. Proactivity is paramount. And some of you are now in a reactive state, and and so it tells me when you're reactive coming back now at the 11th hour and you're trying to bring in a ref machine, here's the thing, you're playing the reactive game. So you have to get out of that reactive and start being proactive. But I don't know. We'll see how you fare when this, but it's targeting the targeting a lot of people. Some people have predispositions. I don't know. I mean, if you have a weak heart and weak lungs and weak brain, or you have, you know, heart issues and lung issues and all this stuff, and then you get exposed to something like this with no vaccine, now you just hope and pray your body is well enough to withstand the onslaught. You hope you have enough. You hope you have enough. And so Tiffany goes, plant your cabbage ends when your cabbage is almost done with it and keep the kale growing. Yeah. You know, what I'm going to do today sometime is get a bunch of canned meat, get a bunch of canned stuff, and a bunch of rice and whatever, and bunch of cabbage and kale, and make some more. Make a lot of it. And because, you know, you may have to be quarantined for a month. There could be so many different, right now America is like, yes, we're going to let business keep going, because you know what? Business cannot stop running. You guys are like, oh yeah, the WHO and the president doesn't care about the people. They only care about the business. Well, hello, you have a community of like millions of people that depend upon a grocery store. Okay, yeah, you can plant your stuff. Yes, you can do that. But not everybody is going to plant or grow their gardens. And so we have to keep commerce and business going, because you can't afford not to. So now it is every man for himself. Ohio has so many schools closed because of illness, whether it's the flu or the coronavirus, I don't know. But they're not going to test for it over here, because unless you said you went to Wuhan, China, they're going to be like, go home and here's some fluids or whatever. But but here's the thing, if you try to test for the other stuff, like the influenza A and influenza B, and then you don't test positive for that, but there's something suspect, then you can kind of know, okay, there's something else going on. Then they send that off to the CDC, and then they have to go get the CDC to give you a test kit. So most people are not going to go through that kind of process. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But then once you get a suspect case, then and then it goes through that process, then yeah, then you're in quarantine, all that stuff. So I mean, seriously, the J juice is going, I mean, yeah, with the J juice, you're going to be mucusing, and you have to. You've got to release the excess. Mucus is the body's way to calibrate to release the excess. Okay? You have to understand how your body works. Mother Nature did not intend for you to use the freaking lightning bolts as a way to calibrate your energy and frequency stuff. Mother Nature did not intend that. Mother Nature meant for you to understand how your body works. And guess what the frequency stuff is, Diojo? It's the salt. It's the energizing salt with the water and the nutrients. Okay? There wasn't a machine that grew on trees and said, okay, play with the frequencies in the universe, and that's how you get healthy. No, Mother Nature never meant that. You eat food. Food's supposed to help you keep going, to keep the energy going, and then you poop, you pee, you blow your nose, and you shelter yourself, you protect yourself, you make wise choices so you don't hurt yourself. But people have been so skewed by people with imbalances that they're making wrong choices, and they're so distracted. And then when the 11th hour, when they're faced with either death, destruction, or something like this, now they want to get all healthy. Well, honey, what have you been doing the last 3 or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, the last couple of years since I've been doing this? Okay? So, now you have to learn how to be proactive, preemptive, because you can't live from reaction anymore, really, okay? You can't afford to. Some of you don't have enough in you to be reactive. Some of you do. But do you really want to roll that dice? Is it worth it? So now you're finding out it's not worth to roll the dice of being reactive. But now humanity is going to realize, 7 billion people are going to realize reactivity is not going to pay very well. Proactivity pays a whole lot more. But you have to understand why you're being proactive. And that's why I've been on Facebook Live. I've been withstanding the troll attacks, people just slamming me left and right, but I don't care, because I know what I have. And I know what's possible for all of you. Do I want to sell this to you? Hell no. But I'm going to get pissed when you've had this and you got off this, and now you're back here at the 11th hour. I hope that didn't do you in. I hope that what you did a couple months ago, or a year ago, was enough to keep you to hold you through this event. Because the Spanish flu was like, they're saying like 6 months. is going to be like the emergency. People are going to be dealing with this for the next 6 months, and then some. February and March is going to be freaking hell. You're going to watch, oh yeah, another confirmed case, another confirmed case. Everyone's going to be staying at home. And then you're not going to know unless your friends say, oh my God, I'm sick, I can't go to work. Oh my God, I'm sick, I have this. And then you realize that it's in your personal circle of friends. It's not just happening out there. It's in your personal circle of friends. Okay? And now you can't say, well, it's somebody else. It's not going to happen to me. Oh yeah, you're right. You're not immune. And going off grid is not going to give you any kind of relief. Okay? Because you bring yourself and you need your food, and you have people that are, what is this people? Why are they sending me? Oh my God. Oh, whatever. People are sending me crap around like juicing and celery stuff and all. I mean, I'm telling you, the snake oil salesmen are out there. Okay. Yeah, Diojo, you cannot afford to be trendy at this point. You got to stop listening to all of your friends in the day game world, because they're not very healthy. Okay? You really do. I mean, I respect those people in that world. I know they mean well, but they're caught in the fear. They're caught in the anti-government stuff. They're caught in all of that, and in the anti-American stuff. And it's not worth your life because your friends are doing stuff that's trendy. You got to now set the stage. You got to now set the trend, because now you are a representation of that world. When I went to Portugal, I felt that I was around people that were like-minded, but I think that I was more of a trend than anything else. Okay? And I don't want Jilly Juice to be a trendy thing that people are using. Okay, this is not a trendy thing. All right. Anyways, you guys, you will figure out how your body will measure up. Now it's, put up or shut up. People can make fun of me. They can call me whatever. They can say I look horrible. They can say that I'm aging rapidly. Okay, say whatever the hell you want, but we'll see how you fare. We'll see if you will survive. Now it's coming down to, yes, will you survive? Are you going to be shoving colloidal silver down your throat and your kid's throat? I hope not. But anyways, all right, I'm going to go do my thing, but I hope I've reached at least some of you. I hope. Is it going to take more death and destruction for me to reach some of you? Yeah, probably. Okay, but sometimes you have to hit the wall before you wake up. And sometimes it'll be too late when you hit the wall. But it has to happen. It has to happen. So, yeah. So I'm just like, I'm surprised they don't have a vaccine. And thank you, Diojo. I'm surprised they don't have a vaccine. But when it does come out, those of you that are very, very immunocompromised, you should get it. And do the J juice, you'll be fine. You'll just have to deal with healing, but you're going to have to anyways, or you go through all the symptoms and die. So you go through symptoms and heal and live, or go through symptoms and die. Two choices: symptoms to live or symptoms to die. All right, talk to you later. Bye.